So recently it's been very hot, the topic of the market closure and people or like Chinese working there also wondering what to do next. What will be like a good opportunity, a profitable business, a profitable direction to take, because so many of them haven't done anything else from that kind of business, like just being in the market selling this kind of cheap goods, or like using the gray channel to take goods inside Mexico, as well as using some kind of gray distribution methods. And they thought somehow this country didn't have that strict law. Still, I don't believe that the law is strict enough. This happened in Mexico City, but here in Guadalajara, as previously mentioned, there are those kind of markets and they are still open and operating as normal, as usual, business as usual. Not just here, also around the whole Mexico. However, the discussion about this topic regarding what to do next, which direction to take, which business are profitable in Mexico, in order for them to tackle, especially that so many of them are very unaware of the language. So many of them were working there and just speaking very little Spanish, so they are not even available to speak Spanish. Nonetheless, I heard this video and I thought it was very interesting, of one guy that has been living here in Mexico for like over 10 years. He has well-established businesses and brands, certifications, like real, companies, paying taxes and employees, etc. So he advised the rest of them, like, if you would like to grow your business in Mexico, the best is to stay away from the gray matters, gray channel, gray merchandise, gray distribution, gray stuff overall, because the Mexican market is huge enough to grow in the formal way. Then you have to come to terms in like starting your own company here, like formalities, taxation, employees, being registered, certification on your products, etc. But there was one thing that he said also, like he and his partner have been like discussing on the issue of whether or not it was a good idea to start up a coffee business, just like in China is Luckin Coffee. I know that many of you guys living in China or previously visited China are well aware of this Luckin Coffee brand. Hopefully you are. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm a fan of the business model itself. It's very worth studying, because just for the numbers, this coffee has like 20,000 branches all over China. So it's just a huge success. I know that you guys here are some more knowledgeable about business in China than me, so please do give me your comments regarding why and what was exactly, precisely, or overall the success key for Luckin Coffee. I was in China in April this year, 2014, and I saw like Starbucks around being quite lonely. They were not having any clients inside. And it was very weird for me, because previous to COVID, I will go to Starbucks and they will always have the collections of cups and, jars, like coffee mugs. Let's say it was April and it was like the Sakura season, and it was December and it was like the Christmas season. So they will have this place, like the Starbucks souvenirs, full with the merchandise of the season. Compared to this year that I went back, there were very few like stuff left, and it was mixed with other seasons. So somehow it gave me the idea that they are not selling very well nowadays, these products, and somehow maybe Luckin Coffee has something to do with it, because also there were not many clients inside Starbucks. I was so it depends, because in Ganxia there's this big shopping mall where it's a like CBD area and shopping mall area. Whenever maybe Saturday, Sunday, people go there to sit and have a cup of coffee because you are tired of going around. But in other shopping centers, or overall just a Starbucks around, that is not maybe in a business area or that kind, I saw that there were not as many clients as there were in previous years. And somehow I saw that Looking Coffee took over. Looking Coffee was full of orders, and they have this different model of like people ordering, like offices ordering and them taking them to offices, I believe. What is the business model? However, this guy was recommending Chinese here, that perhaps it was a good idea for those that have the investment, the enough to make this kind of brand, or like build a brand to the extent of being a competition with Starbucks, because we here in Mexico are quite heavy coffee drinkers. So it might be a good idea to establish a brand and not just rely on the idea that it's not gonna be profitable, because there are so many small shops around, coffee shops in Mexico. So competition is too much. They say there's no competition for that. It's just Starbucks and other few brands which are not very tasty. Because the small coffee shops, come on, it's like Emily Coffee or this and that coffee. Usually these small coffee shops are not targeting the customer that Starbucks is targeting, right? They saw this, just like the Looking Coffee was built with the same vision and purpose back in China. And he said like, yeah, there is business here. They drink coffee, they love coffee. Usually workers, students will want to come and take a cup of coffee, or they will deliver it to like offices, just like Looking Coffee back in China. And by the way, he said like the most important is to have the money to invest in the software and in the logistics of how to deliver the coffee, to make this platform work and all that. It's not just like invest in the chairs and the place and the rent and the employees. No, as you can see, they primarily want to invest in the chip of how this is gonna work, like the system. So I thought it was very interesting, and especially that here being so many Mexicans in the country, there are few thinking about brand development. The majority will just be like, no, that's nonsense. There are so many coffee shops, you have to be competing with them. But the reality is that you don't compete with them. As you guys know, I have been previously recording videos in Uruapan, where my grandma was. And I told you guys that sometimes it's just so annoying that you go to these coffee shops, like even they're beautiful, pretty, like local ones, and the coffee is great. There is not very good Wi-Fi connection, or there is not like a place good enough to work there. It's not comfortable. It's just for the different audience or client. They just target a leisure, or maybe someone that just want to go and drink a cup of Mexican coffee. But what about if they will build a very strong Mexican brand? Competing with Starbucks, maybe now just in Mexico, and after can stand to the USA or somewhere else, maybe around I don't know, who knows, maybe South America or Europe, etc. No, usually this is not very likely. We do have some brands, even this this Chinese guy mentioned, there are these other brands in Mexico City, but they don't have the standard that I believe we could make for a big brand all over Mexico. So yeah, it was quite interesting, and I would like to know more about this Looking Coffee success. Just like the Haiti, wow, that company is just crazy. Yeah, there are these very few very strong brands, and I guess there has to be a lot of investment behind the scenes, but not just investment. There has to be like a software of how this chip will work in order to work, like how this business will work in order to make it and not just fail after a few years. So leave me down your comments. If you have tried Looking Coffee, do you like it? Do you don't like it? You prefer Starbucks? I haven't tried Looking Coffee, and I was just looking at the menu. There is like this coconut matcha latte, which I think will be great for me. So I have to try it when I'm back. So yeah, that's the news for today. It will be super interesting and super surprising that a Chinese company or a Chinese group of businessmen will start making something in Mexico, and not us Mexicans can get advantage of this opportunity. Since we are the ones drinking coffee, it's like Mexicans going to China and being like, oh, so they like tea, let's make a tea brand. It's just so not logical. Like, how can we gonna be able to, how to say, um, like attract them to drink this since they are the masters? But they think different. They think they can, anything is possible. That is just crazy.